What's ignited them? Hatred for Donald Trump.
No fascist USA! No Trump! No KKK! No fascist USA!
We're here in Montgomery County, Maryland, at a protest over sanctuary city policies that were recently passed and are causing a lot of local controversy.
The schools are more diversified, the community, the work environments, everything has been better.
In my view, ICE and CBP are rogue agencies. They have a long history of abuses under multiple presidencies, a long history of trying to cover up abuses under multiple presidencies. And now under Trump, we have what amounts to a concentration camp system, both for undocumented immigrants and for immigrants who are exercising their legal rights to enter the country and request asylum, which again is legal under U.S. law and international law.
You got a bunch of Nazis standing there. Never again means never again. This is how it starts. This is how fascism starts. We have a racist, unindicted criminal.
I don't think you want to get the Daily Caller Foundation. They're neo-Nazi stormfront. Yeah.
That's fine. I'll tell them what I think.
Yeah.
Nazis should be out. We are not recognizing the slow-moving coup. We are not recognizing the growth of fascism in this country. This is fascism. This is what it looks like.
You support abolishing ICE?
I support changing ICE to compassionate leadership that understands their mission is to welcome the immigrant and not to suppress the immigrant, not to hate the immigrant, and not to lock them in fucking cages.
Thank you.
These are not agencies that can be reformed. These are agencies built and operating on white supremacist assumptions about what America should look like and who they're allowed to hurt.
How would you characterize local law enforcement's relationship with ICE? Is it contentious?
I don't know if it's contentious. I mean, up until I met with them, we never had a contention. I mean, there was a lot of hyperbole on their side. We both recognized that we hurt each other. I'll be blunt, they didn't say things that I would characterize as insensitive, racist, or anything else. Like my conversation, that stuff never happened. They seemed sympathetic to some of the issues we raised. They're not the ones that drive this policy. They're people who carry it out. So I feel like we could have a conversation.
All right, let's go talk to the other side. So what do you think the proper role of ICE is in this situation, like with Montgomery County local law enforcement?
We are celebrating or commemorating the 18th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. And the bipartisan 9/11 Commission concluded that there has to be a destruction of that wall of silence and that wall of lack of communication and cooperation between local, state, and federal authorities. It was the fact that you had 9/11 hijackers who were able to get Maryland state ID, and there was no checking of their immigration status. There was no cooperation between these agencies to prevent a mass terrorist attack. And of course, it's not just on that level. It's the ordinary violence that occurs when you have law enforcement authorities who are not communicating with each other. The proper role of ICE and the proper role of local and state law enforcement officials is to be communicating to protect and serve this community.
You go up county, you know right away that the illegal, not just immigration, but the illegal activities are out of control. We have a high school, Watkins Mill, which is basically operating as a homeless shelter. You can look up the statistics, unfortunately, I don't have them memorized, but as far as their dropout rate, their pass rate versus their fail rate, it's embarrassing for Montgomery County, where I grew up. I went to Rockville High School along with my husband, and it wasn't the best school in the county, but we were at least proud of how well we did there. Now, right here in Montgomery County, we have a school that is more of a criminal state than anything else, and it's embarrassing, honestly.
Okay, so you entered the country illegally, then you committed another crime that you were arrested for. At that point, what we're saying as a country, as a nation, as a community, as Montgomery County, is that the citizens of this county support an organization like ICE, which is a law enforcement body, in conjunction with Montgomery County Police, to work and collaborate with one another to do what? To be able to, in essence, separate those bad people from majority of people who are just classified as being illegal. Does that make sense? So if you commit a rape, if you kill someone, what's wrong with having that person removed from our society who shouldn't be here to begin with. Yeah.
Why do you think the local government is so keen on stifling that effort that you're talking about?
Pandering. Unfortunately, the Democratic Party panders to groups. You know, it's generally not the Republican Party that talks about different races and culture. Everything seems to be, there's no policies. Everything's just simply pandering to certain demographics.
No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA.
Obviously, you've got all of these voiceless crime victims out there, whether it's rape victims, murder victims, and the school system. I think that's what we really need to talk about here, the hijacking by Open Borders, Inc. of the entire Montgomery County public schools. I mean, there are kids who cower in bathrooms, afraid of gang violence. And it's not just a white people thing that people are finally rising up here. The fact is that MS-13 and other of these criminal illegal alien gangs are preying on the immigrant community itself. And you've got Casa de Maryland, you've got all of these identity politics groups subsidized by taxpayers and other left-wing groups, the Tides Foundation. Not a single one of those people raised their voice in support and in defense of people who are being victimized. And this is not about some sort of racism or xenophobia. Fundamentally, this is a public safety issue that affects each and every resident, woman, child, and man in this county.